Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Steelers may have wild backup plan if Aaron Rodgers' dreams fall apart. So the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't draft a quarterback until the 6th round? No big deal. They've got Aaron Rodgers coming to town, right? Not so fast. When the Pittsburgh Steelers passed on Shedeur Sanders 3 times in the 2025 NFL Draft, many assumed it was because they secretly had an agreement in the works with Rodgers. But that might not be the case. The Rodgers news has gone quiet since before the draft, and this saga still doesn't have an end in sight. On Monday, NFL insider Ian Rappaport joined the Pat McAfee show to discuss some of the biggest storylines around the league following the draft. In addition to being baffled by the Shedeur slide to the 5th round before landing with the Cleveland Browns, Rappaport also talked about Pittsburgh's potential backup plan if their Rodgers plans fall through. The man who could be called upon to save their season? Kirk Cousins. And it sounds like the Pittsburgh Steelers might be his only potential suitor. To the Kirk Cousins thing, I was kind of keeping track of and trying to figure out if he leaves Atlanta, where might he go? Rappaport explained. If your good friend, Aaron Rodgers, does not go to Pittsburgh, that feels like a possibility. But it feels to me like the other possibilities kind of don't exist. This obviously isn't the Steelers' first choice. By not giving Aaron Rodgers a hard deadline, Mike Tomlin and the front office made it clear that they are holding out hope for the 41-year-old to come to his senses and change, and make up his mind. If this doesn't happen, Rappaport believes Kirk Cousins will be the backup plan. But this is a disaster waiting to happen. There's a reason Cousins got benched in the second half of the 2024 season after being handed a 4-year, $180 million contract with the Atlanta Falcons. With $90 million in guarantees, you don't give up on a player so lightly, even if you have a first-round rookie quarterback waiting in the wings. If you put on Cousins' film from last season, you'll instantly understand why the Falcons will make him available for trade. The aging veteran had zero velocity to his ball last year, and his arm looked completely shot. Some argue that, with another year removed from the Achilles injury, he could get some of this juice back, but Cousins didn't have a big arm to begin with. While we don't know if the Steelers feel this way about Cousins, it wouldn't be hard to believe. Tomlin and Omar Khan are going to want to get someone in the building who could be an improvement over Mason Rudolph, as it will be an awful look for the team to simply roll with their third-string quarterback from the 2023 season. Unfortunately, Cousins isn't guaranteed to be an improvement over Rudolph at this stage of his career. Meanwhile, expectations are low for 6th-round pick Will Howard, and the Ohio State product is unlikely to throw his name in the mix as an option for the 2025 season. Cousins is still under contract with the Atlanta Falcons and would have to be had in a trade. Cousins has a fully guaranteed salary of $27.5 million for the 2025 season, per over the cap, but Atlanta may be willing to eat some of this to make a trade possible. Dulac doesn't believe Steelers ever came close at all to trading George Pickens during draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers have never indicated they want to trade George Pickens, but rumors swirled during the draft that they might. And to be fair, teams very rarely broadcast their desire or even willingness to trade a player until the last possible minute, when they announce a trade. They never said they were exploring trading Martavis Bryant, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, or even Sammy Coates. But even during the draft, the rumors swirled, suggesting the Steelers were making and taking calls about George Pickens. We don't know whether or not that is true, of course. While Jerry Dulac didn't address that report, he did say he believes they never neared a trade. I don't think they came close at all to a trade of George Pickens, he said on the DVE morning show. I don't think they want to right now. If you trade George Pickens, now you're basically back to where you were before you had DK Metcalf. So no, I think their approach is to go into the regular season and have those two and add whatever you can to it, with Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin, 3. While he continues to maintain that the Steelers will not sign Pickens to a second contract, Dulac has consistently claimed they would not trade him during the offseason. He is, however, going into the final year of his deal, so the clock is ticking. And perhaps if the draft broke a different way, a different set of variables could have affected their thinking. I think if they drafted a receiver, that might have heightened the Steelers' interest in trading George Pickens a little bit, Dulac said. But I don't think they intended to trade him today. Now, I'm not gonna tell you they're not gonna trade him before the November deadline. The Steelers don't often indulge in in-season trades, but they did when the Bears sent them a second-round pick for Chase Claypool. If a team wants to trade for Pickens in season and give the Steelers a second-round pick, would they say no? I suppose it depends on how the season is going at that point. After all, they were 10-3 at one point last year. But now, outwardly, the Steelers have given no indication they want to trade George Pickens. Not only that, they have offered no hints that they are even interested in dealing him. Indeed, in signing veteran Robert Woods, they are indicating they don't believe the group is strong enough. Dulac is right that it doesn't make sense to approach making a position a strength and then sabotage it. The Steelers traded for DK Metcalf to strengthen the group, not to dump Pickens. At least, not for anything less than a stellar offer, which is probably at least a second-round pick. Steelers rumors: Kirk Cousins remains in play if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign. The 2025 NFL Draft presumably implies one of two things in regards to the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation. The team is confident it will eventually sign Aaron Rodgers, or it is perfectly content just figuring things out at the position and hoping for the best. But there might be another scenario that management is keeping in its back pocket. You can call it the Kirk Cousins contingency plan. If your good friend Aaron Rodgers does not go to Pittsburgh, I think that would be a possibility. For Cousins, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport told the Pat McAfee Show on Monday afternoon. The respected insider then admitted that aside from the Steelers, there are no plausible landing spots for the current Atlanta Falcons backup QB. More than 1 year after signing a 4-year, $180 million contract, $100 million guaranteed, Cousins is now running out of time and options to start under center. Although he posted a few stellar outings, his first season in Atlanta was a big disappointment overall. The 36-year-old threw just 18 touchdowns and a career-high 16 interceptions in 14 games before losing the starting job to top 10 draft pick Michael Penix Jr. Though, perhaps a change of scenery and an experienced head coach like Mike Tomlin could revitalize him in the final chapter of his NFL career. Cousins would have wide receivers DK Metcalf and George Pickens at his disposal, assuming the latter does not get traded, which should theoretically open up plenty of opportunities in the passing attack. And do not forget, this man was on his way to possibly posting a career year with the Minnesota Vikings before suffering a torn Achilles in 2023. There are reasons to believe the 4-time Pro Bowl selection could do enough to keep Pittsburgh in AFC wildcard contention. But there are also red flags that simply cannot be ignored. The Steelers' offensive line would have to provide Cousins with much better protection than what it gave Russell Wilson last season. Assuming the unit has more luck in the injury department, there is a chance of that concern being alleviated. There are other issues that lack such a straightforward solution, though. The lingering effects of the torn Achilles and natural perils of father time could thwart Kirk Cousins' starter aspirations. The league clearly thinks this as well, hence why he is still on the Falcons roster. Desperation has a way of cutting down a cons list, however. Aaron Rodgers, a QB with limited options in his own right, is the domino that could determine how the 2025-26 NFL campaign shakes out for the former 4th-round draft pick. Pittsburgh continues to wait. And you, fan? What do you think about Kirk Cousins' situation? Write to us in the comments.